I wish...
J.C. Mannering?
Your call from New York's on line 1, sir. Paris has just come through on line 2, and I've got a call from Tokyo on line 4.
Ask them to ring back tomorrow, Judy. Tell them I'm not here. It's far too late. I wish I wasn't here. I've had enough today.
But, sir, they're urgent, all of them.
You know something, Judy? I wish I was at home now, in front of the television, with a cup of cocoa.
Look at that. It's pouring with rain again, and I've got to walk to the station. Typical British weather. It's all right for old Mannering. His Rolls-Royce is downstairs, waiting to take him home. I wish I had a chauffeur-driven Rolls. I wish I had a car. Any car. I'm going to get soaked tonight.
Oh, James, still here?
Yes, I'm waiting to see Mr. Mannering.
You don't usually work in the evenings.
I wish I wasn't working this evening. There's a good concert on.
Oh, well, perhaps he'll call you soon.
I hope he does.
Haven't you finished yet?
No, I wish I had. I can't go until I've completed this report.
Can't you do it tomorrow?
I wish I could, but Mannering wants it tonight.
Evening, Joan.
Evening, Shirley. Oh, I don't feel like working tonight.
Neither do I. I hate this kind of work.
Why'd you do it, then?
I wish I didn't have to, but we need the money. My husband's out of work again.
I know what you mean. I wish I'd learned to type or something like that.
We can all wish. I left school at 14. I wish I hadn't, but there was no choice in those days. Youngsters have so many opportunities nowadays. I wish we'd had the chances. I'd never have ended up as a cleaner.
Come on, Shirley. Let's have a cup of tea.
Look at that, Sergeant. There are still lights on in the insurance company again.
Yes. Looks nice and warm, doesn't it? I sometimes wish I worked there.
Do you really?
Sometimes. A nice office, a desk, secretaries everywhere. It can't be bad.
And the boss's rolls outside.
So you know what they say? The grass is always greener on the other side of the hill.
I suppose you're right, Sarge. Hey, that Rose is on a double yellow line.
Oh, yes. Give him a parking ticket. He can afford it. The happiest days of your life. Some people say that your school days are the happiest days of your life. Here are 6 people talking about their school days. Sally Jennings works in an advertising agency.
I went to the local grammar school. It was an all-girls school, and we all had to wear uniform. That uniform, I really hated it. We had to wear white socks, white blouses, matching blue skirts and blazers, and one of those, you know, funny little hats. Ooh! And we had to wear ties, really. We didn't mix much with children from other schools. It was a bit snobbish, I suppose. The syllabus was very academic. We never did things like cookery or needlework. I was glad at the time, but I wish they'd taught us a few basics. I can't even make a decent omelette. I didn't like games either. A lot of girls running round a hockey field on a freezing cold January afternoon. I hated it. Oh, and another thing I regret. I wish the school had been coeducational. I was terribly shy of boys for a couple of years after I left school, simply because I hadn't met many.
Freddie Tapper is a successful self-employed builder. He went to a secondary modern school.
School? I left when I was 15, and I was glad to get out. I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to start earning a living as soon as possible, in the real world. Most of the teachers were boring, and they didn't seem to understand us. They lived in a different world. They couldn't understand that we didn't want the things they wanted, you know, Shakespeare and all that rubbish. I'd have left earlier if I could. I think teachers are overpaid, and their holidays are too long. I don't know what they're always complaining about. I'm sorry I had to go to school at all.
Samantha Wharton is the personnel manager of a department store.
I was at a big comprehensive.
nearly 2,000 students. Because it was so big, there was a wide choice of subjects, and I liked that. I suppose it was a bit impersonal sometimes. I often wished it had been smaller, but the teaching was very good, and there were lots of extra activities. I played in the school orchestra, not very well, and helped to produce the school newspaper. I think comprehensives could be improved. A lot of my friends left at 16, and they now regret leaving so early. Some of them would have done very well academically, if they'd been encouraged enough. Still, maybe things are different now.
William Bunter is a civil servant. He's a senior official in the Foreign Office.
I went to Eton, actually. I suppose I had a very privileged education. Academic standards were very high, and I was able to go on to Oxford. The thing I remember most is the comradeship. The friendships I made there have lasted through my life. Sports were very important for me. I believe that team games teach people to work together, and we played every afternoon. There's been a lot of bad publicity about corporal punishment in schools. I was often beaten, but it didn't do me any harm. Maybe young people would be better behaved these days if there were more discipline in schools. My only regret about boarding school is that I didn't get to know my parents very well. I didn't see much of them after the age of 8. I've thought a lot about the problems, but I'd like to send both of my sons to Eton. I've already reserved their places.
Joyce Brown is a housewife.
I was brought up in the country, and I went to the little village school. We were all together, boys and girls of all ages. It was like one big happy family. It was difficult for the teacher, of course, different ages and abilities, but the older children helped the younger ones. I think it was a good preparation for life. I wish they'd never closed it. My children have to travel 4 miles by bus to the school in town. My school days were very happy. I never passed any exams, but I don't regret going to my little village school.
Darren Andrews was at a comprehensive school. He's unemployed.
I left last year when I was 18. I passed all my exams, but I still haven't been able to find a job. I wish I'd applied for university, but even with a degree, there's no guarantee of work nowadays. I wish I'd chosen different subjects. I specialized in English literature, history, and Latin. I enjoyed doing them, but you see, most of the jobs these days are on the technical side. I think schools ought to give more advice on careers, and there should be more specific job preparation. If I'd known more about job possibilities, I'd have done other subjects.
Miss Britain.
This is the third and final stage of the Miss Britain competition. We've seen all the contestants in bathing costumes and in evening dresses, and the judges have selected our 6 finalists. The last stage is the interview, and in this stage, our contestants will be judged on charm, intelligence, and personality. Our 6 finalists are number 14, Miss Lancashire, number 13, Miss Dorset, Miss Norfolk, number 50, Miss Gwent, number 6, number 30, Miss Strathclyde, and Miss Warwickshire, number 40. Would the first contestant please come forward? This is 17-year-old Grace Field from Lancashire. Just stand there, Grace. You're a shop assistant, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
What kind of shop is it?
It's a clothes shop. We sell children's clothes. It's only a temporary job, actually.
Now, first of all, what do you do in your spare time?
Well, I like dressmaking. I make all my own clothes and cooking. I do a lot of cooking.
That's a beautiful dress you're wearing. Did you make it?
Yes, with a little help from my mother.
Now, Grace, you said your job was a temporary one. What would you really like to do?
Oh, to work with children, definitely.
Uh-huh. Last question. If you could have one wish, what would it be?
I've thought about that a lot. World peace.
Thank you, Grace. Our next contestant is a beauty consultant from Dorset, Victoria Hardy. Victoria's 25. Hello, Victoria.
Good evening, Terry. It's lovely to meet you.
Thank you. Have you got any great ambitions, Victoria?
Yes, I'd like to sail across the Atlantic.
The Atlantic? Alone?
No.
Have you any experience of sailing?
Yes, I go sailing every weekend.
Is that your only hobby?
It's my favourite one, but I like horse riding too.
Good, good. What about one wish?
I'd wish for a long life.
Very nice. Thank you very much, Victoria. The third finalist is Lynn King, a primary school teacher from Norfolk. You look too young to be a teacher, Lynn. None of my teachers look like you.
I'm 21. This is my first year.
I see. Tell me about your hobbies.
I'm very interested in astronomy and playing the piano.
Ah, music and the stars. Very interesting. Have you got any great ambitions?
You'll laugh, but my ambition is to go to the moon. Seriously.
Do you think you ever will?
Who knows?
And if you could make a wish?
I just wish for happiness.
Next we have Myfanwy Lloyd, a 19-year-old brunette from Gwent in Wales. What do you do, Myfanwy?
No, Myfanwy. We pronounce it Myfanwy. I'm still at university.
What are you studying?
Drama. It's also my hobby.
Any other hobbies, Myfanwy?
Well, I'm a black belt in judo.
Oh, dear. I'd better pronounce your name correctly, hadn't I?
It's all right.
What do you hope to do when you leave university?
To be an actress.
I'm sure you'll be successful. Would you like to make a wish?
Yes. I'd wish for health. I think it's the most important thing in life.
Our next finalist from Scotland is Miss Strathclyde, a 23-year-old fashion model, Dawn Munro. Hello, Dawn.
Hello, Terry.
What are your interests?
Dancing and photographic work.
So you're a keen amateur photographer?
No. I'm more interested in modeling.
I see. What about your ambitions?
I'd like to become Miss World.
Really? You are ambitious, aren't you? And your wish?
I've always wanted one thing, fame. I'd like to see my face on magazine covers.
Well, it's certainly pretty enough. Thank you, Dawn. Finally, Kerry Talbot, Miss Warwickshire. How old are you, Kerry?
18.
Don't be nervous. Speak up a bit. And do you work?
I'm a typist.
What do you like doing in your free time?
Reading. I like reading and swimming.
What's your ambition?
To have a large family. I love children.
And if you had one wish, what would you ask for?
It sounds silly, but I'd ask for good luck. I'm very superstitious. Look, my fingers are crossed.
Thank you, Kerry. Now, while our judges are making their final decision, we'll take a short break. Now, here to announce the results of our contest is Mr. Derek Chorley, the chairman of EBC. Mr. Chorley.
Thank you, Terry. I'm going to read the results in reverse order. Third, for a prize of £5,000 and a weekend in Paris, is number 13, Victoria Hardy from Dorset. Second, for the prize of £10,000 and a holiday in Spain, is number 6, Myfanwy Lloyd. And now, Miss Britain, with a holiday in California and £20,000, yes, £20,000 is number 30, Dawn Munro from Strathclyde.
I never watch beauty contests. They're like a cattle market. I think they insult the intelligence of women. No woman with any self-respect would ever enter a competition like this. I find them totally degrading.
I certainly don't take them seriously. They're harmless fun, really. I mean, you see prettier girls every day in shops and offices, but people earn a living from their intelligence or from their abilities. Why shouldn't they make money from their appearance?
I occasionally watch them, but I don't think I'd like them if I were a woman. After all, a lot of girls would look just as good with the makeup, clothes and lights. Anyway, beauty's only skin deep. I often feel irritated when I'm watching a beauty contest. The values are false.
I always watch them. I like looking at pretty girls. I'd rather watch a beauty contest than a program about politics. There isn't enough glamour in the world. If you don't like it, you can always switch off the television. Operation Impossible.
Now, 006, I want you to look at these pictures carefully. This could be the most important mission of your life. At last, we've got the chance to break the biggest crime syndicate in the world. Smash. Look at the man in the middle. He's the one we've been after for years.
Who is he?
We think he's the one that controls Smash. He's certainly the one that ordered the murder of 003, the one that planned the hijacking of the jumbo jet full of world leaders, and he organizes the biggest drug smuggling operation in the world.
Do we know his name?
We know some of them. Otto Krugerrand. That's the name he uses in legitimate business. Dr. Nader. That's the name he was using in Vienna last year. John Smith. That's the signature he left in a hotel register in Bangkok.
Who's the gorilla standing behind him?
Slow Job. He's the bodyguard who travels everywhere with Krugerrand. And the only person he trusts. He's an expert assassin. He's the one who fed 004 to the crocodiles.
How charming. What about the woman?
Don't you recognize her?
No, I've never seen her before.
You would have recognized her if she hadn't had plastic surgery and dyed her hair. Think back to Beirut.
Not Heidi Schwartz. She's the one who arranged the pipeline explosion and then vanished into thin air.
She's also Krugerrand's wife, and the only pilot he allows to fly his private plane.
Who's the little guy wearing thick glasses?
That's Professor Beratsky, the mad scientist who defected from Moldania. He's an expert on laser technology, and the first man who's been able to perfect a space laser weapon. Krugerrand is planning to build a private space rocket which could put a satellite into orbit. Do you understand the importance of this, 006? If they got a laser weapon into space, they could hold the world a ransom. That's something which must not happen, 006. Take a look at this picture, 006.
It's an oil rig.
It looks like it, doesn't it? It belongs to Krugerrand's oil company. It's a rig that's supposed to be drilling for oil in the Indian Ocean. Below it, there's a vast undersea complex.
The superstructure looks odd.
In fact, it conceals the launch pad they're going to use for the rocket.
That must be a radar scanner there.
Yes. It's the scanner they'll use to track the rocket, but they can also see anything that tries to get near the rig. It's going to be very difficult to get you in, 006.
There's a helicopter pad.
We think that would be too dangerous. Look at the helicopter closely. It carries air-to-air missiles which could destroy any aircraft approaching the rig.
How are we going to do it, then?
Go home and pack. We're flying you to Scotland tonight for 2 weeks of intensive mini-submarine training.
That sounds fun.
And 006, try not to be late for the plane this time.
Operation accomplished. When 006 reached the rig, he climbed up one of the towers. He was looking for someone whose uniform he could steal, but the rig seemed deserted. He went into an empty cabin. As he was looking for a change of clothes, the guard whose cabin he was searching came in. He was surprised to see 006 in his black frogman suit, and 006 had no difficulty in silencing him with one blow to the neck. Fortunately, the guard was about the same size as 006, and the uniform fitted perfectly. There was a pass in the pocket. The pass operated the lift which went down to the undersea complex. 006 woke up with his hands tied behind his back. His head was throbbing. He was not alone. In the room were Krugerrand, Slowjob, Heidi, and the guard whose clothes he was wearing. And a beautiful girl, whose hands were also tied, was lying beside him. 006 recognized her instantly. She was Pip Kingsley, an American agent he'd met in Washington. 006 looked at his watch. The explosive device he'd put on the rig was timed to explode in 45 minutes. Krugerrand noticed that 006 was awake. "Welcome, Commander Fleming. We've been expecting you," he said, smiling. "Unfortunately, we haven't got time to show you around. Blast-off is in 40 minutes. Slowjob will take you to feed the sharks. They must be very hungry by now." "I'm delighted to meet you, Krugerrand. I've been looking forward to it. Thank you for your invitation. I've always been interested in big fish. See you later." "I don't think so, Commander. This will be your last mission. Slowjob, take Commander Fleming and Miss Kingsley to the aquarium." Slowjob escorted them to Krugerrand's private apartment. One wall was made of thick glass, and behind it 006 could see the dark shapes of the sharks cruising around. Slowjob pushed them up a spiral staircase to a platform above the shark tank. "Ladies first," 006 said politely. No, after you," replied Miss Kingsley with a smile on her face. "You wouldn't refuse us a last cigarette, would you, Slowjob?" 006 asked. "I don't smoke," Slowjob grinned, "and you should give up smoking. It's bad for your health." "Now come on, Slowjob. There are some cigarettes and a lighter in my pocket." 006 indicated his jacket pocket. "Okay, but don't try anything." Slowjob reached into 006's pocket and took out the cigarettes and lighter. He was careful to keep his gun trained on 006 all the time. He took a cigarette out of the packet and pushed it into 006's mouth. He pressed the lighter with his thumb. The sudden force of the flame took him by surprise. At that moment, 006 kicked him in the stomach. He fell backwards and disappeared into the tank. Within seconds, all that remained of him was a red pool of blood on the surface. The lighter had dropped to the floor and was still burning, and 006 was able to burn through the ropes which held his hands. He quickly released Miss Kingsley. He glanced at his watch. "We haven't got much time," he said. "Can you fly a helicopter?" "I can fly anything if I have to," she replied calmly. "Good. Go and get the engine started and be ready to go. If I'm not there in exactly 10 minutes, go without me." 006 ran back to the control room and walked calmly in. "Good evening, gentlemen," he said. Krugerrand turned, and he was moving his hand towards his pocket when a jet of flame from 006's lighter threw him back across the room. 006 pointed the lighter at Baratsky and Heidi while he pulled every switch on the control panel until it exploded and burst into flames. 006 ran quickly to the lift, but it was on fire. He had 5 minutes left, and he started to climb the ladder in the lift shaft. He was halfway up when he felt a hand grabbing at his ankles. It was Krugerrand. 006 gripped the ladder tightly, turned, and kicked Krugerrand hard in the face. He fell back, screaming, into the flames below. The helicopter was already in the air, hovering about a meter above the pad. 006 leapt onto a wheel, shouting, "Take it up! Take it up!" The helicopter soared into the sky. A few seconds later, there was a massive explosion as the rig went up. 006 managed to climb into the helicopter cabin. He sat back, reached into his pocket, and took out his cigarettes. He put one in his mouth. "Oh, blast," he said. "I seem to have forgotten my lighter. You haven't got a light, have you?" Student Mastermind.
Our next contestant on Student Mastermind is Victoria Bamber, who is a student at Sandpool Comprehensive. I'll just remind you of the rules, Miss Bamber. You have 2 minutes in which to answer as many questions as possible. If you do not know the answer, you should say pass. I shall then go on to the next question. If you answer incorrectly, I shall then give the correct answer. You will get 1 point for each correct answer. If 2 contestants have the same number of points at the end, the one who has the fewest number of passes will be the winner. Are you ready?
Yes.
Can you name the President of the United States whose early career was in Hollywood?
Reagan. Ronald Reagan.
Correct. What is an instrument which shows the direction of north?
A compass?
Correct. Can you tell me the name of the sea where eels go to breed and die?
Pass.
Name the person who became the first woman Prime Minister of Britain.
Margaret Thatcher.
I'll accept that. What is the date when the United States celebrates its independence?
The 4th of July.
Correct. What do we call a person who always expects the best to happen?
An optimist.
Correct. Can you tell me the language which was spoken in the Roman Empire?
Italian?
No, wrong. The correct answer is Latin. What is the office people visit when they want advice about their marriage?
Pass.
Who was the Egyptian queen whose beauty was famous throughout the world?
Cleopatra.
That's correct. What's the newspaper column where jobs are advertised?
The job adverts?
Can you be more exact?
No, I can't think of it.
I'm afraid I can't give you that. We were looking for situations vacant. Now, can you tell me... I've started, so I'll finish. Can you tell me the name of the French emperor whose final battle was at Waterloo?
Napoleon Bonaparte.
Correct. And at the end of that round, Victoria Bamber has scored 7 points. You passed on 2. The sea where eels go to breed and die is the Sargasso Sea, and the office people visit when they want advice about their marriage is the Marriage Guidance Council. Thank you. Can we have our next contestant, please?